first things first, gentlemen. How are you?
We're doing great. Thank you.
It's very good to hear. So before we get into the songs that you've been releasing lately, just let's start by getting into what the past 2 years have been like for the band, for Joliette, because I think there have been some lineup changes. I think there has been, there has been a worldwide pandemic that obviously messes up kind of what you want to do as musicians. So what have the past 2 years been like for you guys?
They're being crazy. Like, I don't know where to start. Do you want to say something, Ash?
Well, yeah, like I was telling you just before the other guys joined, we weren't prepared for everything that nobody was. Honestly,
Sure.
nobody was prepared. And so back in 2020, we had a lot of plans. We had the plan for a European tour, actually. It fell through. We were fortunate that the pandemic happened before we flew to Europe, because it would have been really, really complicated with us being in Europe. It would have been, I don't know how we would have handled it. So it would have really sucked. And we weren't expecting to have a lineup change. It was all really from out of nowhere, unexpected. And at first it was very frustrating. There were days when we thought that maybe the band was done, not because of our fault, but we slowly, as soon as things started getting better for the pandemic, well, no, I wouldn't say better, but not as bad. We started gathering, we started getting together and talking about our future. Like, hey, what are we gonna do, guys? And we decided to go on as a band. I was playing bass. Now I'm playing guitar and singing, because the member that left the band was the singer. Mm-hmm. And at first we were very insecure. We were not confident about everything that we wanted and how we were doing things. But it was a matter of time. It was a matter of patience. Down the line, we met Hugo, who is our new bass player right there, the guy with the glasses, the handsome guy. And, it was lucky. It was, I mean, I still can't believe that we were such fortunate to have this guy in the band now, because as soon as Hugo joined the band, Hugo brought a lot of motivation to the band, a lot of positive energy that we were lacking. So as soon as he entered the band, things started slowly getting better. We were writing our new songs, and it was flowing. We listened to our new music, and we were like, wow, we really like this. Let's continue doing it this way. And then that brings us to the point where we are now, like 2 years down the line, and things are better, like way more positive now.
Well, that's great to hear. And what I find interesting, because you mentioned this point where you kind of had to decide, okay, are we going to continue this band or are we going to do something else? And especially kind of with the couple of years that we've had globally, but also the music business being a very difficult industry to kind of engage in. What ultimately decided, well, no, we love this too much, we want to still be doing this? Well, what's the thought process behind it? And this can be personal for each one of you, but what is it kind of that makes everything, being in this band and putting your heart and soul into it, what makes it worth it?
I think that, at least for me, I think that when the pandemic started, like everyone had our heads super hot, like we were thinking super, like trying to solve everything quickly and not reaching our goals as fast as we wanted was super frustrating for us. And as Gastón said, we were like thinking about like finishing the band, no? But then as the time passed by, at least for me, it was I want to continue making music with these guys, but not because of the music, because of our friendship, because all of the things that happened to us, to the four of us, including Hugo. I don't know. I think it changed something in my psyche, you know, like in my mindset. I discovered a new way of making music, with a new way of communicating with my bandmates, you know. So, you know, like, it was difficult because of the pandemic, obviously. It was, I mean, we couldn't play, we couldn't do anything really, you know. We spent like 6 months away from each other. So when we started, you know, getting together again, and, you know, like, not playing music, just like hanging out and trying to decide what was the future of the band, that's where I decided, like, hey, this is like, I'm not ready to let this go away, you know. This is everything for me. I don't care if it's gonna work. I don't care if it's I don't know, you know. It's like, it was so unclear, everything, that I don't know, it was just the positiveness of the four of us that made, at least for me, made us like, made me like, you know, like, decide to, I want to keep doing this with these guys for the rest of my life. Doesn't matter what happened, you know.
Oh, that's great to hear.
The main problem was that we haven't no money for doing things. So it starts like thinking in how to develop the band with no money. So we start a recording studio. We start making videos with our iPhones. So it was like a funny way to start things again and to unite us.
Yeah, it was like when we were young, that, you know, your parents dropped you at your best friend's house. You brought your guitar or your drumsticks or whatever, and you just were there doing nothing, you know, without playing. You just brought your instrument, but you were hanging out. That was how we discovered that we could do videos, that we could record again. It was like discovering the band again. Like, our, at least for me, it took me back to when I was young and I went to my best friend's house and discovered how to record a guitar, you know, or write a song. It was as beautiful as that.
So I imagine then, when you do start writing again and do start playing together again, what was was it a very fruitful period? Was there a lot of creativity when you kind of decided, well, we do want to continue, and then I like hanging out with these guys, so let's start making music again? Was there, did a lot of songs fall out immediately?
Well, it did took a while for like music to start flowing. I mean, Gaston had like a bunch of ideas, but at first it's just like Azael was saying, like, we were just getting together and just like hanging, you know, just like talking and just like, yeah, I would like making plans for like the music itself, but not actually doing it. We were just just talking about how, oh, I would like it to go this way or that way, or and just listening to music. And it was just as Azael was saying, like, it was really cool to get back to like the basics, you know, like, we're together as a band because we like each other. We like hanging out with each other and just talking about music, you know, not just our music, but like music in general. And also what Hugo brought to the table was really important, because he was like an external person to the band. So he really brought to our attention that everything we've done, you know, because we're thinking like, nah, I don't know, why should we keep doing this? But he was like, guys, you've done this and that, and you've been all over the place, so don't just drop it. So at first it was just that was like the creativity that was flowing between us, like just about plans. And then I think after the first song we finished, everything started just like flowing. It was like one song was done, we recorded it. Hugo was the one that really pushed us to record it. He was like, you just have it, just do it, just record it. Because we have this, big plan about like, let's do like 8 songs and then we'll record them and then we'll see. And he was like, no, guys, you have one, record that one and you'll see. And what happened, like we did one. Yeah, we did one. It was like, yeah, this sounds really good. We did another one. Then we redid the first one, and then we did the third one, and then we record the second one. Everything was just like one after another. So, and it's been like nonstop since then, like one after another. So it's been really, really cool.
But you raise an interesting point. So Hugo, from your perspective, what was it like joining these guys? And as you mentioned, it was already an established band that you joined. So what was that like from your perspective? And what did you see that you could add to the band?
It was amazing because I was like I left music like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Because of my job, because of life in general.
Sure.
But I started in the pandemic, I started recording my own projects just with my guitar. And I love glitch music. I love ambient, drone. And I started making things. So Azael asked me to record him drums for a band in Peru, I think.
Yeah, it was a Peruvian band.
It starts there. So he one day he asked me to play the bass, just like as a favor for one show, and I said yes, but I wasn't like an official member. And I started recording with Gastón, and I started recording with Azael the new tracks. And I start mixing, and it starts like naturally. So weeks later, I was like mounting a complete show with them to play in a studio, and now I'm part of band, and it's like, for me, it's amazing to play with the best band in Mexico. I consider them the best artist in music. Everything is perfect because it's the music I like, it's the guys I like, because if you don't match with your partners, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter if they are the best musicians, it doesn't work if you don't match with them. So this is different. This is like the perfect match. And for me, it's amazing to be back in music. For me, it's amazing to be with them, just hanging, We don't need to make music. We just can have a nice time.
Sure.
Just because. And for me, it's amazing. And this is the first time I'm gonna tour with them. And for me, it's so important to be strong, to have a strong friendship with them, because a tour is like a marriage,
Sure.
If you're not strong with your guys, it's pretty hard to return complete.
Yeah, definitely. And one last thing about kind of the past couple of years before we move on to the new singles that you've released. But Gastón, for you mentioned moving towards being the vocalist and the frontman for the band. So what was that transition like for you? And had you dabbled in singing and doing that kind of stuff before?
Yeah, well, actually, before, a few years ago, when we recorded our second and our third album, I started doing a lot of backing vocals for the band. Not so much in our first album. I started doing it live with some of our older songs, not in the studio. And when we started recording some splits between our first and our second album, I started thinking about, hey, maybe I should do some backing vocals, but not only live, also in the studio. And it worked. So, there there was one song in one split with Israeli band called Zaga Zaga. The song is called Pizza de Kotsko. We recorded that song back in 2014. Not one of our best sounding recordings, to be honest, but the song itself is pretty cool. It's pretty intense, and I do most of the vocals. So that was kind of like my tryout to see how I was gonna do as a singer. And when the pandemic started and things went downhill for us, it was a matter of, for me, it was a matter of finding a solution. You know, it was gonna be easier to find a new bass player than to find a new singer and a new guitarist. And the guitar, I had no problem because I had already been writing and recording some guitars for the band before. But at first, after I made that decision, at first it was a little bit intimidating for me because it was very hard to coordinate some of our songs, like to sing and then play at the same time. It's a process, you know. It's like a sport. You have to. It's like a discipline, right? You have to learn how to do it. You have to practice. So yeah, at first it was very intimidating. I was very motivated because I really like singing. I really like, you know, it's very cathartic. It's very intense. It's very releasing. You feel very relieved somehow. So yeah, I mean, I started practicing, and when we were recording all of these songs, the new songs that we recorded had like a previous version. So we had enough time to record them and see like, okay, this is working, this is not working. So at first, when we recorded kind of like the previous versions, some of the things I was doing with my voice were not there quite yet. So we were able to say like, hey, maybe I should scream in this part, do it something different. Maybe this part I shouldn't scream. Maybe this part I should let the song rest. And yeah, it was just like that. It was just a matter of doing it and keep on doing it and rehearsing it. And every day I find myself more comfortable with the position of being the lead singer. And I think I'm improving every time. So it's become really exciting, to be honest.
That's good to hear. That's very good to hear. So let's jump into a couple of songs. Segundero, when did that song start? What was the starting point for that song? Was it a riff? Was it a bit of lyric? What was it? Yeah,
well, so it's also when we had during the pandemic, when after I started playing guitar and then doing vocals for the band, the very first rehearsals that we had, it was like, hey guys, we should maybe try to write a new song. And I have these riffs that I have been working on. And I started working in the guitar with alternate tunings for the guitar. Because, I really love Sonic Youth and Placebo. You listen to these bands and they have really, really interesting guitars. And it's weird because they're not, like it's not standard tuning, so it changes the way you see guitar. So I just started like, hey, I have these ideas, guys. Let's see where it takes us. And I had some riffs for the song Segundero, and it's not a song that we wrote really fast. It's like a song that took us like maybe 3 or 4 weeks to finish. Okay. But it started with, I had the main riff, like the riff for the chorus, and then it started all clicking together. Like Chazzy, our drummer, he had these really cool ideas for the drums. Like they had no guitar, it's only drums. And I was like, yeah, I like this. And, just following the rhythm of the drums, I found like these really cool things on the guitar. So it was kind of like everybody pitched in for that song.
Right. Well, when do the lyrics come in for you in general when you write? Is it, do you already have themes in your mind that you want to talk about, or is that something that comes later?
Yeah, I mean, at first I have to, I try to nail the concept. So every song is kind of like a different thing, a different feel. So first I try to nail the concept on how the music makes me feel, and then I start developing the lyrics. Sometimes it takes me more than a week to finish one song, because I'm trying to be very I'm trying to look for a specific type of language. I want it to be very poetic, this specific new songs. So, I try to be patient. It's like going fishing, right? If you go fishing and you're not patient, you're gonna go home with whatever you fished. But if you're patient and you stay there and you're persistent, you're gonna go home with a bigger fish. So that's how I've been trying to work with it.
And now my Spanish is very poor, so I did try to look up some of the lyrics and stuff, but obviously I can't speak Spanish, so I put them in Google Translate. But am I right in saying, it's called Secondhand, and it's kind of about the way we remember things?
Yeah, exactly. Secondhand. So the secondhand, when you look at a clock, the second hand is always moving. Like all of them hands are always moving. But you can't really tell unless you stare at the clock for like 5 minutes. But every time you look at the clock, even if it's for like 10 seconds, you see the second hand moving, right? Like the time is ticking. And the song talks about memories and about nostalgia, right? So you get older without even realizing, and some of your favorite memories from childhood or from your first love or from family or for vacation, summer, whatever, like your favorite memories slowly start fading away without you even realizing it. And that's what the song talks about.
What is one, and maybe it can be collectively, or you can all think of something separately, but what is one memory that you have of the band, that kind of this nostalgic memory? And for you, Hugo, maybe something that when you heard the music of Joliette, or even from the past couple of months.
For me, no, you go, Hopo. You go.
For me, I would say like first tours. Like when we were all naive and excited about everything was new, every place was new, and that's really cool. Because sometimes I know we've been doing this for 10 plus years.
Sure.
And those first times, everything looked like really cool and really amazing. And now you sometimes get to a show or whatever, and it's like, oh man, like, oh fuck, okay, let's do it, or like driving, I don't know, 8-9 hours to get to a show. You're tired. You're like, oh man.
Sure.
I gotta rest. But at first it was super excited, like, yes, 10 hours, yeah, let's do it, and I really look back to those days and remember them, like, really makes me really happy. And sharing with all a lot of people, and a lot of those peoples aren't here anymore, even though they left music or their bands aren't playing anymore. So I know that those memories really, I look them up back, like really, really happy memories.
Fair enough.
Yeah, for me, it's driving on the passenger seat with Hopo, just talking and like making plans that maybe they will never happen, but it's just like, I don't know, it's like missing the road. Actually, I obviously I miss playing live, but sometimes the best memories or the best things happen outside the stage, like I don't know, it's when you get to know the best. I mean, you get to know your friends the most, and I don't know, it's just that, like the road, like driving, and as Juan Pablo said, like driving 10 hours, like you don't know if you're gonna get there on time, but you just need to drive. And it's like getting on the passenger seat, lighting a cigarette and just hoping for the best, and put like blasting some music, like sometimes just like, I don't know, just hanging. That's what I miss the most. And yeah, that vibe about the tour, the band, it's not even about the music, it's about the people. And
yeah,
that's what I miss the most. And that's how I get it. Like every Monday and Thursday, we get together to rehearse. In fact, we're like getting together in a couple of hours, and those are like the best days on my week,
Sure.
because that's when I get to hang out with these guys. So yeah, it's all about the friendship,
And it's very good to hear. It's very good to hear that. Sometimes obviously the music is important, but you have to like each other as well. That's a very important thing that sometimes bands forget, I think.
Yeah, we're not the Rolling Stones, so
yeah,
we still love each other.
Exactly. With the first singles now coming out, are you working towards a new album then? Are you looking towards releasing an album? Because you mentioned being in the studio and having recorded quite some songs.
Well, we're gonna be recording singles throughout the year, like songs that we have that a couple of them we already started working on them. A couple of them we still have no idea, but we're gonna be releasing singles like every 2 months or so.
Okay.
And then after the year's over, after we release them, we're gonna decide whether they're going to be part of a compilation or some sort of a EP or maybe an LP, or maybe they're just going to be like standalone singles. We're not 100% sure about how we're going to package them, but we're definitely going to be releasing singles every couple of months throughout 2022.
And with that in mind, you mentioned kind of the live playing. What is the ambition? Because you mentioned the importance of friendship and then kind of just having a good time together. But what is the ambition, so to say, of the band? Do you still look towards touring internationally? Is that something you really want to get off the ground again?
Yeah, of course. It's something. I mean, Joliette. It's that, touring. But I mean, we're older now. We have more responsibilities.
Sure.
So we need to think better. And, I mean, all of us are like super excited about touring again, but we cannot just live for 3 months again. I mean, almost like three of us are like living with our partners,
Sure.
So it's not like, hey, honey, I'm leaving for tour. See you in 6 months. No, it's we cannot do that anymore. And our ambitions, at least here in Mexico, is like we got onto this point that we felt that we were, like we did almost everything we could, like
sure.
DIY speaking, So now we're trying to expand our horizons and working with people, in the industry. It's like, I mean, we need to play the music business somehow. I mean, like being punk rock or being DIY doesn't mean you need to be like against like a living mode, like the music business mode. So that's why we're thinking about, as Gastón said, like releasing some singles throughout the year, seeing how it works. I mean, we need to have something to work with in order to make a big tour or to play a festival, because I mean, if you do a tour, you need to have something fresh, or if you're playing some gigs, you need to have something fresh. And sometimes like before this, we didn't think about that much. We just wanted to play, and we are learning about what to do, what not to do, with which decisions are like positive, which decisions are not that positive. But we're trying to keep our essence, like to work as Joliette has done throughout the years, but being more wise about our about the decisions and the ambitions. But of course, we want to keep touring and keep releasing CDs or albums. It's something that Joliette has done like always. So yeah.
Last question then, and this is, I don't know if this is a good question, but we, especially from people here in Europe, whenever we see concert festivals or shows being recorded in either Mexico or anywhere in South America, the crowd is always amazing. It's ridiculous how much better the crowd is than here in Europe. But as you mentioned, you're very active in Mexico, and you're looking towards shows in Mexico as well. So what do you expect from those shows that you will be able to play in the next year, for instance?
Well, I guess what we're looking forward in that show is just getting that feedback from the public, and that energy. Because, one thing is getting together, just hanging out, making music, and a whole other thing is like going live and having that interaction with the public. We've been rehearsing twice a week for a couple months, and it's sounding really good, but we all know that it's not this. Even if we are for like rehearsing like a year, it's not going to be the same as playing it live, because you have that feedback from the public. And that also is a part of the show, a lot of our shows, what people like our show is just how the energy with the audience is shared. So and that really like it's a feedback for us. A lot of our songs have changed over the time because of that. There's some parts that maybe we didn't pay that much of attention, but like the public reacted in a certain way that's like, oh man, we should change this and change that. So that's what we're looking forward, playing live again, that feedback from the public, their energy. I know playing live, it's always been not just for us, but like for the people that like our music, very cathartic, So it's like the energy we produce and how they receive it and how they feedback to us, that it's also part of what we do and what we like. So that's pretty much it. Like we're really looking forward to that interaction to see how they react to our live music.
Yeah, and I think after the 2 years that we've had, I think the public is also very ready for live music again and very ready to kind of have that interaction with the artist. So, gentlemen, may I thank you for your time?
No, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.